What's going on YouTube? Claic Yuzolt back again with another Genshin Impact video, and today we finally got our first official statements from Mihoyo on updates coming, including a 1.1 release date and a roadmap for the game. So let's get into it. Alright guys, so what we're going to be reading from is the Chinese forums, or the Chinese official Mihoyo. That's where we're getting this information from. We're going to have some information on what the roadmap is going to look like and how they are planning on doing events, and then we're going to go into some other stuff which is pretty cool later on. So I'm going to just paraphrase this because I don't want to have to read it word for word, and it is kind of like a Chinese Google translated version of what they're saying to English. So essentially what happened was they released the game on the 28th. They had plans for events to come out October 1st, it sounds like, or at least that's what they were saying with the beta, and then things started going wrong with the release. So they looked into it, they decided, hey, we're going to put the events on the back burner, and we're going to make sure that Genshin Impact runs smoothly for when it comes out. And I got to say, it was a pretty smooth launch. I had a couple of problems. People had a long time downloading the game, but that's because it was just wildly popular and people jumping in there. But other than that, they must have done a good job because I didn't really feel a lot of those mistakes or bugs or problems that they're talking about here. But what that led to was them taking a long time to develop these other events because they're making sure the products we have now is really good. And as we scroll down, they're talking about how they started trying to implement some of these events, and through testing they found a lot of bugs, so they have to go through and start working on them more. But one of the cool things they talk about is, I think for holidays, are going to make the game Genshin Impact, and that's just what I'm reading from this. Again, it could be badly translated, I could be thinking of it wrong, kind of match the outside weather for the areas during the holidays. So it would be like maybe some snow, maybe the leaves start turning or something like that, which would be absolutely insane, and I would love that. It'd be pretty sick. But I guess depending on where you are in the world, it would depend on what the weather looks like to you. And I think that's what they kind of talk about, how they have to have different versions of the events for where you are in the world and where you're going to be playing it. And that's why they're having a problem with implementing it, because it's a pretty cool idea. And again, I could just be reading it all wrong. I'll link it down below and you can read it yourself. But then they go into the real roadmap and they start talking about how the game is going to be updated every 6 weeks. And that's a big update. They talk about it being a major update every 6 weeks, and that's what they plan to do. So the first one coming out, and I know you guys are excited to read about it, is version 1.1, which we've been getting all these leaks and these beta testers saying certain things. So who knows what's true and what's not, but we know this is true because it's coming straight from Mihoyo. And that's going to be, it's expected to come out November 11th. And during this version, the Unreturned Star-Off event will be open. So that's our first event that we know about. And then it goes into version 1.2, is expected to come out December 23rd. During this version, the Longji Snow Mountain area and related version activities will be open. And then 1.3 coming out in February. They talk about the Sea Lantern Festival, which is something they talked about coming out like October 1st maybe, or somewhere around there, the Mid-Autumn Festivals. And they're pushing it all the way to February. So there must be some really things wrong with it if they got to test it and make it go for that long. But the one thing I want to say about this, in my opinion, on is that it seems like really long wait time for updates to be coming to Genshin Impact. Like, I was expecting the first week for them to be ready with a new banner, a new event for us to grind and stuff like that. And we can all, at least us dirty gacha players, or the grinding player, the really hardcore grinders out there, we've hit that adventure rank 30, 35, and we're fiending for something else to be going with. And yeah, it may be our fault, but you guys will eventually hit it too if you haven't, because we kind of flew through the game. So we're looking for something more than just having to wait 6 weeks and just getting online and doing our dailies. And I mean, there's a ton of stuff I want to do, but that's what a lot of people think they're only going to have to do in the game. So I'm hoping they have like some tiny events, because another problem I see with the game is the Primo gems aren't exactly primo. They're not handing them out all the time like they should be when the rates are 0.6%. So that's something else they need to work on, along with resin management. So I'm hoping that every 6 weeks is a major big update, big things happening, changing in the game. And then, you know, every week or 2 weeks or so, there's like a little event for us to play around in and give us something cool to do. At the end of this particular article, they talk about how they've been hearing all of our criticisms. If you guys have been on the Reddit, if you guys have been witnessing or playing the game yourself, you can see there are some problems, sadly, with the in-game content, with the resin system being too restrictive, Primo gems not being handed out as much as it should be if you're going to have the 5-star rate be 0.6%. And I totally agree. Coming from somebody who usually white knights, these are problems I saw creeping up even when I was like adventure rank 15. If you guys would go back on my stream, or you heard me talk about it, I was like, that resin system's looking a little bit weird, unless they start handing out daily like 2 or 3 resin refills, you're only going to be able to do these dungeons like 2 or 3 times, and then you're going to have to not play anymore, or you're going to have to pay to refill if you run out of those resin refills. So they talk about how they've been taking in your criticism and how it's going to really help shape the game, and it could be all fluff, it could mean nothing, but I'm hoping that with Mihoyo, they actually take some things in, because this game is huge, people are loving it, and you want to continue that to go for you and for me, so hopefully they take some of this stuff in. All right, and the last bit of information we have here from Mihoyo is going to be covering some buffs, or at least some bug fixes, to some of your favorite 5-star waifus in Mona and Keqing. This is going to, again, I'm just going to talk about it here. Keqing is having a problem with her elemental burst, where she apparently was not having some of her artifacts or weapon effects be applied in a way that they should be. So they're going to be fixing that, and then after that, it says the character Mona, her bubble, her elemental burst as well, her bubble burst is not applying the right kind of damage. It is not working as the damage is supposed to be intended, and we already knew that. I saw a Reddit post of somebody really breaking it down and how it was buffing up your character's damage and how much damage your character does instead of buffing up what the enemy's damage should be taking. So because the elemental burst states that it should be amping up what kind of damage the enemy takes or how much it takes. And so that would be applying to elemental burr or elemental reactions, elemental burst, everything like that. If you're only buffing up what your team does, it's a little bit different and a little bit more stringent and picky on how it's going to burst up that damage. I don't know if they're fixing everything with Mona here, but I know she had a lot of bugs going on, but they are going to fix it. And they say every attack of whatever the elemental burst Sky Street Parade for Keqing is, with the eruption of the engraved elements, will be correctly added by the affixes of the weapon and the artifacts. And then after Mona casts the elemental burst Star Destiny, the damage value of the bubble burst will return to normal, which is great, doing more damage. In addition, bubble burst damage will be the same as other damage, enjoying the vulnerability bonus of the strange effect. So I'm assuming like debuffed effects or things like that. Anything that's happening to the enemy, now the bubble burst damage will be good. But they don't talk about the applying of the different damage variables, as in like making the enemy take more damage opposed to making you do more damage. I know it sounds a little weird, but you actually do more damage if the enemy is taking more damage as opposed to buffing yourself up. Sounds weird, but that's the way it is. So they're actually going to have this repaired by 10/10, which is pretty soon, going to be in a couple days, a day from now. And the compensation, we're going to get some, it looks like 200 rough stone, which I think is going to be primo gems. So at least we get some primo gems there, which is nice. And the compensation range is to anyone who is a 5 level or above. We'll be getting that, and we'll be having it in our, you know, we need some primo gems. So thank God we're getting some here. And I love that they're fixing these units because I did just pull Mona and I did know she had those problems. So it's great. And for all the Keqing owners out there, they're going to be pretty excited about it. So overall, it's pretty cool to finally get our first update from Mihoyo covering Genshin Impact. I hope to get more, you know, at least weekly updates from them, just talking about different stuff if we could. 6 weeks out, if we have to wait that long before we get anything from them, would be kind of bad. For sure, when they're coming from a lot of people who are in the gacha community, we're used to like weekly updates. So at least maybe every 2 weeks. 6 weeks seems like a lot. But if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below how you feel about these updates, and if you're excited about your Keqing or Mona updates. And then let me know how you feel about the resin system overall. I'd like to see your comments on that. Subscribe for more Genshin Impact content. Follow me on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Claic Yuzolt, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.